I met a gypsy.
If someone's talking about their own insecurities, then share some of your own as well. So it's like you're actually making them feel, it's like you're guiding the level at which they can go in a sense. And that's like, that could be like uncomfortable as a host because you've kind of got to dig into your own stuff too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like there's been plenty of times where, you know, a player might be talking about the time he got dropped and, you know, how rattled he was. And, you know, you got to pick your moment. Sometimes you don't need to jump in and say anything. Sometimes you can see that he's struggling a little bit. And so you just go, yeah, man, like, you know, I remember when I got dropped, I was absolutely devastated. I sat in the car and I didn't move anywhere for a few hours. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's just like me. Like, it's okay to feel like that, especially with men, you know, like we're just so, like, I do think there's a huge benefit as men to be able to control your emotions. That's what I think masculinity is about, is controlling emotions. Doesn't mean not feeling them. Yeah. It means controlling them. But I do also think we could improve a little bit on being able to go, you know what, like I didn't, like, and again, this is coming from a person that still struggles to, like, even little things like I've got a business and, you know, let's say I was going to raise capital and because we want to grow. That makes me feel like, oh, I'm asking for help. Like, fuck that. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Which is stupid. It's stupid. But that's how deeply ingrained, I guess it is in a lot of men of like, don't ask for help. You find out what you got to do and you get it done, which is a good trait to have. It is a good trait to have. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But making blokes feel comfortable of like, I was vulnerable here and I was down and out and it's key, I reckon. I totally agree, bro. Totally agree.
Do you think that podcasting has kind of helped the male in general?
Massively.
Like, I don't think there's probably ever been a time where men have been able to talk and have like open conversations as they have been in the last like 5-6 years since the medium's really blown up.
For sure. I think it's like the tough conversations. Like I always feel like men did have the tough conversations, but it was almost a secret. You know, you remember that time we're on the beers. Remember that's 3 a.m.
I was going to say it's always kick-ons, bro.
It always
comes out of kick-ons.
And it comes out. And, you know, and you speak about it and your mate cares and you open up and there's no awkwardness at all. Yeah. But it's almost like we spoke about it. It's done now. Whereas I think podcasting has really opened, you're right, like opened up, like you can just chat, just yarn like about whatever you want. And it's okay to yarn about whatever you want. It's hard because I feel like sometimes when you go down this route, you go down the route of like, oh, you know, you need to constantly speak about your emotions. And look, don't take my advice on this, guys. Like, everyone's different. This is just my personal opinion. I do think some people need to toughen up. Like, you know, some people just need to harden up and stop using the excuse of like, oh, woe is me. But also, I do agree that, you know, some people probably do need to have a chat to someone and whatever. So it's that weird... The truth's always somewhere in the middle, you know? Like, we're getting pushed this whole narrative of like, oh, you've got to be crying all the time about stuff and it's okay to cry. It's like, bruh, like...
Yeah.
Is it really? Like, do it in private or something. Like, or do it... Don't do it on the internet. How about that? Go to your family. Go to people you love and have you cry.
See a fucking therapist, bro.
Just like on the internet shit. So like, you know, that's in my opinion. Again, I could be totally wrong. I'm 35. I'm probably past that generation that accepts that stuff now. So I'm happy to say that I'm wrong. There's got to be somewhere in the middle. Yeah. You know, there's got to be somewhere in the middle where you go, yeah, it's okay to show your emotions, but do it around loved ones and not emotions, but let's say you're breaking down and you've had a terrible day and whatever. I think guiding people to the right places is much more useful than just crying on the internet, on this pub. You know what I mean? Like just telling people to cry or telling people to have breakdowns. It's like, well, where's the good in that? Yeah. Let's direct people to the right places that you... I'm not saying that you click your fingers and it happens. Yeah. I'm just saying that like maybe some direction is a bit needed in that conversation. But back to the podcast, that's what I think is so good is because it isn't mainstream in the sense of it's not owned by, I mean... It's not owned by somebody. It's not owned by someone. So it's given men an opportunity to talk how they want to talk about things that they want to be talking about without being told, well, hang on a sec, this is the narrative that needs to be pushed now, so you're not allowed to talk about... You know, I think if you ever wanted to look at like an example of the shift in culture and whether you like Joe Rogan or you don't like Joe Rogan, like there's anyone that could reasonably... Even if you don't like Joe Rogan, you can't reasonably sit there and say a lot of the stuff he teaches is good. Like, you can totally agree with his politics or whatever you think he has. Like, there's so many different opinions around it. But You can't tell me that him openly talking about some of the stuff he talks about hasn't helped a lot of young men around the world. Like, come on. Like, that, then you become the problem. If you're going to alienate, you know what I mean? If you can't look past your own dislike of someone and realize the value that they're bringing, you're the problem.
Yeah. Dude, the Rogan effect was crazy. I mean, there was like a...
And I disagree with a lot of Joe Rogan's stuff.
Yeah.
But I still appreciate the shit out of him, you know?
Yeah, and what you see there, it's funny. I was watching last night. It come up on a next play of a video, and then it was him and Louis Theroux, and they were talking about Scientology. It was a great episode, and seeing that probably like 38, 39 or 40 something, like early 40 version of him. It'd have to be early 40s. That's just a guy that was like trying to figure his life out, you know, and he was like making some good money, and he was like kind of famous in the world that he was in, and he had like, he wasn't globally famous in like the way that he was now, but it's just like, there's just that's the first time, it was like a Truman Show of like watching a guy's thought process develop and evolve. And like you said, agree with him or not, like dude, I mean, I think I started watching Rogan in like 2013.
Yeah, it's not
like 2012, man.
Yeah, me too. Around that area, like, and like, if you've watched him for any long period of time, as I said, like, I think that he's probably
10 years now.
Yeah,
10 years from when we're talking about.
And like, so he's probably moved a little bit further away from where I am personally on certain topics.
I agree.
But like, how you can't look at him and just say, as you said, he's just a bloke.
Yeah.
Finding his way. There's no mean intent. There's no malice in his heart. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like, he's just a bloke trying to find his way. And so, I would like, imagine if you could do research and find out how many young men,
it's out of control,
would honestly say, he made me go and speak to my mate about this, or I saw Rogan shedding a tear of happiness for his mate, and it made me reach out to mine. Whatever it is, mate, it'd probably be millions.
Bro, think about the DMs you've got.
And then times that by a gazillion.
A jillion, like a gigafuck ton.
Yeah.
Like to the point where he couldn't even acknowledge what he's got. Like, it's such a crazy influence. And the other thing that I found that I guess I didn't, because you don't like go into this thinking like, in 5 years I'd be doing this combo in this room, and you can't like predict that. But I would have never understood, well, I guess the reasons why I think this industry and what we do is like a good and important job is that, like, essentially what I do, or the way I look at it, and it's very similar for you, like, these people that you talk to and I talk to are somebody's hero.
Yeah. Like,
legitimately their hero.
Yeah.
There's never in a million years a chance I'll get to talk to that person for 3 hours.
Absolutely. It's such a good point.
And it's like, we're lacking, like, the males that you would have had in your life, like you were just telling me a story about your dad. Like, what a fucking G. Like, that's a mentor. Like, that's a peak level dude that is like worthy to look up to. And you literally talk to me about him for like 2 minutes, you know? So it's like, dude, amazing role model, amazing mentor. What I've learned in doing this is that there's a lot of blokes out there that don't have that in their life.
Absolutely.
They have fucking dog shit mates.
Yeah.
They have dog shit misses, and they have, like, their dad was a dickhead.
Yep.
You know, and they're going through life, and they got a job, and they got a wife, and they got a fucking but they don't have any mentors that are like that. And, you know, they've got these people that they watch on the weekend, or they've got, for me, it's like a guy like Christian Craig that would, you know, race Supercross, and they're looking up to him, but they don't have mentors in their life. They've just got heroes. And I think that, like, what you do is like, you bridge the gap from hero to mentor.
Yeah, it's a good
and
point.
You can actually like provide these people. It's almost like this, you know, mentorship program with these guys. And it's like, they've probably heard the same shit a million times from, you know, like self-help this or whatever, but hearing it come from like a Josh Adokar or a Cameron Smith, it's just, it hits different. And like to be the kind of guy that can like bring mentors to people. And that's sort of what I you know, you look at like Rogan as well. You know, there's so many people that he's brought on, and you just give him the opportunity to like be a mentor for a person. And then, like, in a sense, he ends up being like a mentor for those people.
Think about the impact Joe Rogan had. he made looking into science and stuff cool.
Yeah.
Like at school for me, it was like, yeah, okay, if we had a good teacher, it would be great because he'd really get you involved or she'd really get you involved. But most of the time, it's like science is for people in lab coats. Like, I don't know what that is. I don't care.
Yeah.
He made it like interesting to sit there for 3 hours and hear Graham Hancock and Randall Carson talk about the Osteostrias fucking whatever 12,000 years ago. All right, I don't know what it is. Egypt was a lost civilization, whatever it is. Whether you believe it or not, like whether you say it's pseudoscience or whatever. And I'm not going to get into the more other stuff. I'm just talking specifically about archaeology and stuff like that. It is still introducing young people to discovering and exploring science, like looking into, like, tell me the amount of men and women, including myself, after I listened to that first Graham Hancock, isn't it? Graham, and Randall Carson. Yeah. Like, I started Googling Göbekli Temple, whatever the fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm down a rabbit hole looking at these monuments from thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
I never would have even considered it because I was an athlete and that's all I gave a shit about at the time.
Yeah.
And he did that.
Yeah.
He did that.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.